Hello, BookTube. It's a beautiful spring day here in Boston, an early spring day without a cloud in the sky. It's just perfect weather these days. It's no cold breezes, no cold at night, warm but not hot during the day, just lovely. I myself, for lizard-like Jerry Seinfeld's parents type reasons, wish that it were 50 degrees Fahrenheit hotter than it is, but I will take this weather. Absolutely gorgeous. Um, and I've got some mail for you. and the first piece of mail is the most primitive kind because it didn't even require an envelope. It was on the sidewalk, right near Hyde Cottage, just sitting on the sidewalk. I assume because maybe somebody moved in and just discarded it, or maybe it was part of one of those sidewalk free books take all thing, and it was the only one left. But one way or another, amazingly enough, it was of interest to me. I'm ashamed to say I've never read these books. This is a compilation of 3 nautical fiction books by William Golding. Here with the BBC cover with a very young Benedict Cumberbatch before he became Sherlock, before he became Doctor Strange. And this is Rites of Passage, which won the Booker Prize, Close Quarters, and Fire Down Below. 3 a nautical fiction trilogy set in the early 1800s, and I have never read them. So I'm sure that there are nautical fiction fans out there who have, and so it feels providential that it came to me. But aside from that, this is all normal mail, including a big box at the end that explains my choice of haberdashery. But first we'll deal with this. There's a priority mail envelope that could be from one of you, because publishers typically don't send things priority mail. But let's see what we have. What explains this? Huh. Oh, okay. Boy, how unusual. This is unusual, but it is another book from, we saw the other day. I got a book, this thing right here. We saw The Sweetest Days, a book that I got from my editor at the Martha's Vineyard Gazette, where I review books for the broadsheet newspaper on the island of Martha's Vineyard off the coast of Massachusetts. And that is one of my books. This is from June, late June. This is another one. Wow, that's great. Good to get. Always good when the season picks up at the Gazette. This is Master of the Revels by Nicole Galland, Galland. It is a return to the world of a book by Neal Stephenson, The Rise and Fall of D.O.D.O. So this is homage fiction, pastiche fiction. I read The Rise of D.O.D.O. I wonder if this has, yeah, that's, a lot of you Stevenson fans will know that book. That is the book. Is a big fat book, pretty interesting. And this, I guess, is a return to that imaginative world. In this brilliant sequel to the New York Times bestseller, The Rise and Fall of D.O.D.O., can it technically be a sequel if it's not by the same author? I always wonder about the terminology here. I guess I'll have to know before I write a review. Best-selling author, or our author here for this book, conjures up a history-bending adventure about a daring young time traveler who must return to Jacobean England to save the modern world. Picking up where The Rise and Fall of D.O.D.O. left off, Tristan Lyons, Melisande Stokes, and their fellow outcasts from the Department of Diachronic Operations must fight to stop the powerful Irish witch Granny from using time travel to reverse the evolution of all modern technology. Having seen the effect that modern technology has on under 25-year-olds, I say go ahead and reverse it. Chief among her plots to encrypt cataclysmic spells into Shakespeare's cursed play Macbeth. When Mel Stokes' fellow rogue agent fall victim to her scheme, she is forced to send Tristan's untested, wayward sister Robin back in time to 1606 London, where Edmund Tilney, master of the revels, controlled all stage performances in London. And now the witch controls Tilney. 1606. Oh my. I think Deb and I were on only our first marriage then. While Robin poses as an apprentice in Shakespeare's Globe Theatre, Mel travels to the ancient Roman Empire and, with the help of double agent Chira in Renaissance Florence, untangles the knotted threads of history as the diabolical granny jumps from timeline to timeline, always staying frustratingly one step ahead, or is it behind, considering that it's time travel? Well, this sounds like a lot of fun. It sounds, in fact, a little bit more fun than Stevenson's own book. What am I going to do then? I have to review this thing. So what am I going to do there if it turns out that that the sequel or the pastiche or whatever it is better than the original? I'm not all that huge a fan of Stevenson. I wonder if the publicist for this book would send me that, or if it's out in paperback yet. I don't think I reviewed it for anybody. So my only question left here is, let's see, Nicole Galland is the author of historical novels I, Iago. Now that I did review, her novel about Iago. And briefly lifted her head. She has not been away from me at all for more than 6 inches at any time. It's been lovely. Nicole Galland, so she wrote I, Iago. She wrote a novel about Godiva, Lady Godiva, and The Fool's Tale. And she's the author of contemporary romantic comedies On the Same Page and Stepdog, and the co-author of the New York Times best-selling near-future thriller, The Rise and Fall of D.O.D. Oh, okay. She wrote that book with him, so this is a sequel. No matter what we use for terminology, this is a sequel. Okay, well, I'm going to have to find out if I can maybe get a copy of that, because I don't think I have it. I'll have to bother the publicist and see. We've still got a little bit of a provisional filming set up here, so pardon the slippage. Let's see. I just got these books piled right next to me. That's all. So hoping that doesn't cause too many operational problems. Although I can see that it is. Oh my God! Here, let's put that right there like that. There we go. I'm just on my day couch. I'm on what is sarcastically referred to as my fainting couch. I've got workbooks right next to me and a bunch of mail right under my elbow here. So let's see what we have here. Okay, so this is a June release from Laurie King, who is the author of the Mary Russell novels, a couple of which I've reviewed. This is Castle Shade, a novel of suspense featuring Mary Russell and Sherlock Holmes. Okay, at first glance, I didn't think it was because it doesn't look anything like any of the others. But I guess there's no requirement there. Let's see here. Lee Child has called the Mary Russell series the most sustained feat of imagination in mystery fiction today. Please. They're good, but they're not that good. Now I am thrilled to share that the adventure of Mary Russell and Sherlock Holmes continues in Castle Shade. Let's see here. The Queen is Marie of Romania, the doubly royal granddaughter of Victoria, Empress of Britain, of the British Empire, and Alexander II, Tsar of Russia. A famous beauty who was married at 17 into Romania's young dynasty, Marie has beguiled the Paris Peace Conference into returning her adopted country's long-lost provinces, single-handedly transforming Romania from a backwater into a force. The castle is Bran, a tall, quirky, ancient structure perched on high rocks overlooking the border between Romania and its newly regained territory of Transylvania. The castle was a gift to Queen Marie, a thank you from her people, and she loves it as she loves her own children. The threat is, well, that is less clear. Is it? Is it really? The word Transylvania was mentioned within 200 miles of a printed book. So is the threat really mysterious? I don't think it is. The word Transylvania was mentioned. That means we know what the threat is, or what it's going to purport to be. But I can't get this thing to stop sliding. Look at that, it's sliding. The minute I stop touching it, it's sliding. Here, let's fix this so that it doesn't bother Steve. Why are we on a downward angle? Let's make sure that it's stable. Here we go. Okay. But let's see how they worm out of the Transylvania mention. Shadowy figures, vague whispers, the fear of girls, dangers that may be only accidents. But this is a land of long memory and hidden corners, a land that had known Vlad the Impaler, a land from whose churchyards the shades creep. When Marie calls, Mary Russell and Sherlock Holmes are as dubious as they are reluctant. But a young girl is involved and a beautiful queen. Surely it won't take long to shine light on this unlikely case of what would seem to be a Romanian vampire, or as they are known in the West, vampires. Okay. Well, this sounds like a lot of fun. Fantastic. It does sound like a bit of a departure, but maybe it will end up not being. Great. I can't tell if one of these blurbs on the back is from me, but I have reviewed a couple of these. Castle Shade. Okay, that sounds like fun. This comes out in early June. It is a very, very good series. I shouldn't leave you with the wrong impression. The Mary Russell books are really, really good. They will not disappoint. I shouldn't fuss around with the camera, should I? And risk everything. Let's see here. Let's see this next one. I won't shout, and we won't hurry. There's no reason to do either one. Oh, fantastic. Oh, my. All right. What St. Martin's Press is doing no wrong today. This is Dominus, a novel of the Roman Empire by Stephen Saylor. Fantastic. A lot of you will know this author. He was called by USA Today a modern master of historical fiction. And this summer he continues his saga of the greatest, most storied empire in history from the eternal city at the very center of it. Dominus is a long-awaited capstone to Saylor's best-selling novels of ancient Rome. The year is AD 165, so my guy is dead. The Empire of Rome has reached its pinnacle. Pax Roma reigns from Britannia to Egypt, from Gaul to Greece. Emperor Marcus Aurelius oversees a golden age, and the ancient Pinarius family of artisans embellish the greatest city on earth with gilded statues and towering marble monuments. But history does not stand still. The years to come bring wars, plagues, fires, and famines. The best emperors in history are succeeded by some of the worst. Barbarians descend and eventually appearing before the gates of Rome itself. Chaos engulfs the empire. Through it all, the Pinarius family endures, thanks in no small part to the Fascinate, the protective talisman older than Rome itself, handed down through countless generations. So this is a continuation not of the Gordianus the Finder novels, but of his big, fat Roman historical novels, the first of which I believe was Roma. Is that right? Is this going to tell me that? Are you going to tell me that? Are you going to be good? Yes, Roma is the first one, and then Empire. And now this one, Dominus. So, once again, I really wish I had the first two books. I'll have to see if the publishers can maybe unearth them. Fantastic. This book spans 160 years and 7 generations, and it teems with some of ancient Rome's most vivid figures. On the fringes of society, a band of troublesome cultists disseminate dangerous and seditious ideas. Since we're maybe Midrash, we know who they are. Well, they're not vampires, although they do drink blood, according to their enemies. They call themselves Christians. Some emperors deal with the Christians with toleration, others with bloody persecution. Then one emperor does the unthinkable. He becomes a Christian himself, and the revolution he sets in motion will change the world forever. So we know this is at least going to Constantine the Great. Okay, fantastic. So this comes out also in June. Great. Great. Boy, two terrific sounding books. Okay, and then we get 2 boxes. We have a thinner box and a thicker box. And the thicker box comes from, as will come as no surprise to a lot of you, Iowa. But let's see what the thinner box does. Always have scissors nearby when you've got packages open. Always have scissors. Hey, baby, how you doing? You want your fans to see you? I could do the whole video like this and none of you would care, because that's all you want to see. Let's see here. Okay, this is another finished copy. I can tell already. That's great. Let's hope it's a May book. Let's hope we have lots and lots of May books that are coming as finished copies. Oh, fantastic. Okay. Boy, ask and you shall receive. All right, this is April 20th. That's close enough to May for me. This is a finished copy of something we've seen on this channel before. This is The Free World by Louis Menand. Nice, big, thick, hefty thing. We've seen this already, but I'll read it in case you don't remember or you're new to the channel. In this book, the author sets out to tell the story of how, in the 20 years after the Second World War, the United States went from a country that was largely admired around the globe but existed on the artistic and cultural periphery, to a country that had moved to the center of artistic and influential influence, but had largely lost moral credibility as it became increasingly entangled in Vietnam. So a change happening in two directions there. In order to tell his story, Menand zooms in on a series of varied topics, artistic fields, and intellectual milieus, which he investigates with characteristic authority, insight, and verve. A lot of you will know this author from the Metaphysical Club, and you'll know that the claim there in the publicity sheet is not idle. He really does know how to write popular history. In these pages, the author narrates the history of George Kennan as he laid the intellectual foundations for the policy of containment that would define the Cold War. He explores the life of George Orwell as he was writing his anti-totalitarian classic 1984. He engages with thinkers such as Hannah Arendt and C. Wright Mills, writers Susan Sontag and James Baldwin, and artists from Jackson Pollock to John Cage. He writes of the Beats and the mid-century legal battles over censorship, decolonization and the work of Franz Fanon, the avant-garde provocations of Robert Rauschenberg and Mercy Cunningham, the birth of second-wave feminism and Betty Friedan, and the arrival of Andy Warhol and pop art. He grapples with works from the lonely crowd to the liberal imagination. Okay, this is fantastic. And the Metaphysical Club has blurbs all over it here, including from Ron Charles, who was writing for the Christian Science Monitor at the time that he blurbed it. Great. What about the advanced words for The Free World? What do we have here? Stephen Greenblatt, Elizabeth Kolbert, Adam Gopnik. Great. Okay, well, I have the advanced copy, I've dug into it. I haven't made my way through it. I was kind of waiting for a finished copy with an index and maybe critical apparatus. Does this have those? I presume that it has. Yeah, it has an index. What about? Yes, this is critical apparatus as well. Okay, so great. This comes out in late April, so I need to hunker down with this book tonight and figure out what I think about it and what I'm going to do about it. So, and then we have a box, a bigger box, and this is from Bill Ruttenberg in Iowa. This is from Bill Ruttenberg of the Ruttenberg Library, who also sent me this hat because he is tragically misguided when it comes to the baseball franchise to which he gives his loyalty. Tragically misguided. The Kansas City Royals were founded by drug runners and prohibitionists, and they were, I believe, responsible for the kidnapping of the Ruttenberg baby. He gives them their loyalty anyway. So what did he send me? Good Lord. Oh my, oh goodness gracious. Oh, that's right. Well, some of you will remember. I'll leave a link to Bill's channel down below. Some of you remember that he recently came across just a motherload of Folio Society editions that I think were just going to be thrown away if he didn't come across them, if he didn't claim some of them for his own. And he mentioned in his video, I'll leave a link to it down below, he mentioned in his video that a lot of them were still wrapped in plastic. Who knows how many such fugitive collections are out there that just nobody wants, that just nobody even knows about. Who knows how many of those collections do just get thrown away because the owner doesn't even have a Bill Ruttenberg or a Mark Richardson or a Jason Harrigan or me to call to come and collect them. But he very nicely sent me two of these. The first one is the Folio Society of Rumpole, Rumpole of the Bailey by John Mortimer. This has original illustrations all throughout. I had this. I believe this is featured in a couple of library tours of mine. It isn't. I don't have it now. It's gone. This is actually not a duplicate. This has original artwork embossed on the cover. There is Rumpole. He is an Old Bailey hack at number 3 Equity Court. This has Rumpole and the Younger Generation, Rumpole and the Show Folk, Rumpole and the Old Boy Network, Rumpole and the Bright Seraphim, Rumpole and the Tap End, Rumpole and the Tap End. is a classic story. Rumpole and the Bubble Reputation. Rumpole and the Bubble Reputation is probably my favorite Rumpole story, where he deals with the that bottler of historical bilge water, the historical romance novelist Amelia Nettleship, and rips her to shreds on the stand for being a fraud, for being a terrible writer. Oh, great! Rumpole a la carte is in here, where he defends the award-winning Michelin-starred chef Jean-Pierre Huygens, whose restaurant has served up a mouse. The chef, the waiters are at a table and they're very proudly going to unveil a covered dish. Un, deux, trois. And when they lift up the cover, there's a mouse, a live mouse on the plate, because someone is trying to bring down Jean-Pierre Huygens. He calls Rumpole. Rumpole and the Children of the Devil, Rumpole and the Family Trial, and finally Rumpole on Trial, which is another great story. And this has spot illustrations all throughout. There's Rumpole at home with his wife Hilda, she who must be obeyed. Fantastic. Well, okay. I have many Rumpole volumes, individual and collected, but I don't. I had this once upon a time, and then I got rid of it. And what is the next one? Oh, wow. Oh, my. Okay. Well, this also I've had and read. I've read quite a bit that's in the Folio Society, but I haven't had this. Oh, God, I haven't reread this in so long. Not since I had 2 Penguin volumes, eons ago. This is The Greek Myths by Robert Graves, in 2 volumes. I wonder what these have to say. Oh, aren't they beautiful? God help us. I see why people like Mark Richardson and Richardson Reads collect these things, because they really are just astonishingly beautiful. There's ancient Greece for us. And this is Robert Graves' sort of treatment of retelling and analysis and treatment of the Greek myths. It's absolutely bonkers. It's absolutely bonkers. He's just making weird stuff up off the top of his head all throughout here. There's a little research mixed in, but God help the graduate student who goes to these things thinking, well, Graves must be some sort of classical scholar. Still, they're enormously enjoyable to read, and I don't have them. I had a 2-volume Penguin set of these in paperback decades ago. I haven't read this in so long. And now I have them in this beautiful box set. I love me some box sets. Fantastic. Okay, well, that's quite the mail haul. Oh, God, help us. Bill Ruttenberg includes a note that ends this way. As I mentioned, he is tragically on the wrong path in life. But I'm not faulting his generosity. That's for sure. So we have The Greek Myths by Robert Graves and Rumpole, both Folio Society editions. How wonderful. Then The Free World by Louis Menon. This setup here is really not conducive to Steve Pyramids, but we'll give it a try. Dominus by Stephen Saylor. We have an unusual sounding entry in The Castle Shade, an unusual sounding entry in the Mary Russell books, those of you who know your Mary Russell books. And finally, Master of the Revels. Historical novel about, among other things, Edmund Tilney. Good Lord. And To the Ends of the Earth by William Golding, which is not technically mail, I guess, in a sense, but I'm still eager to get to it. So there you go. I've made a mess here, and this is a sloppy video, too. I'm sorry about that. The camera was slopping all around, but at least you got a look at my constant companion, my helpmeet, who has not been more than 6 inches away from me at any time, even braving the bathroom when I was in the shower. So I'm very grateful for that. I have a lot to dig into here. Well, boy, thanks to Bill Ruttenberg. Good Lord. What a nice gift. So I'm going to wrap this up for now, and I will be back. Sorry about all of the... We had a block of sunlight on my face. I've probably been looking in the wrong place and not at the camera. And the camera has slipped and slid all around, but we'll work it out. It's a work in progress. Like those things. Those are works in progress. Anyway, I'm going to wrap this up, but I will see you soon. Thank you, BookTube.